Hey guys, today is Shrimp Scampi Day. I am going to be making shrimp scampi. It's my favorite recipe for shrimp. I do things a little differently than some others I've seen, and I'm going to show all of that to you. I absolutely love this dish. You can eat the shrimp scampi without pasta. I will be adding pasta, but I hope you love it. It's my newest addition, as my daughter calls it, cooking with Mama G or Mama Jen. I'm not quite sure which thing it is, but whatever it is, I'm going to be cooking. So the first thing to pay attention to is I have some jumbo shrimp. That was one of my favorite George Carlin things, jumbo shrimp. Sorry, I had to add that. I have some jumbo shrimp that is has not yet been cleaned up, which I'm going to do next. I have olive oil, fresh lemon. I have garlic. I have some organic capellini. Capellini is called angel hair, depending on where you are. I tend to like the very thin pasta. You can pretty much make this with almost anything. I have some flour from one of the local bakers, and their flour is just, it's different. It's not like anything packaged. They're a local baker here in Carlsbad, California. Love them. And I have ghee. So I'm going to be combining the ghee and the olive oil because of the flavor mixture. You'll also see I have a fresh orange. Lemon. I have a lemon tree right outside my door and some fresh parsley. So what's first going to happen is I will be cleaning and deveining the shrimp. So here are my cute little shrimps. Please remember two things. Number one, when you peel a shrimp, if you have a garbage disposal, do not put the shrimp skin, if you will, into the garbage disposal. It's not a good thing. Second thing is when you wash the shrimp, make sure you wash it in cold water, period. One of the things that you'll see me do in a couple moments, shrimp being cooked properly is kind of a delicate thing because overcooked shrimp tastes like shoe leather to me personally. So what I want to make sure that you're learning through this process is that you cook shrimp very delicately, softly, if you will. And there's a timing process that I'm going to share with you. One of the things that you see here, this is my fresh parsley. I have washed it. I have sponge dried it, if you will. I've wrapped it in paper towels and squished. That's the word, squished. I then cut it up, but then after I have it cut up, I put it into a small bowl and I use my really sharp scissors to cut it into smaller bits. What you see in this bowl is more than we're going to need because you don't want to overpower the dish with parsley, but at the same time, have it prepared and be ready to go. And what I want to do is walk you over now to my pasta pot. I have the water ready. I've added salt. Salting your water is always an important thing. And what we'll do as we get a little further along is you're going to see that I'm going to use the pasta water as part of the sauce in order to create the creaminess for our shrimp scampi that I very much want to have. So I've put the water on the range. I've turned it up. I got it to boil, and now I'm letting it simmer. So I've added about a tablespoon of ghee and about the same amount, a little bit more of olive oil. I do that intentionally. I blend the two flavors. I just really think that the ghee adds a tremendous flavor to the scampi overall. So here is one of the ways that my recipe may be a tiny bit different from some others you've seen. I like to dredge the shrimp very lightly in a flour. That's all, just flour. Now, you can use gluten flour. It really doesn't matter. Gluten-free flour, it really doesn't matter what. But I like to dredge it slightly. It does not create a crust in any way. But what it does do is when we get down to the point of the sauce, which is over the pasta, which makes it all great, it's kind of important in my mind to dredge it lightly. I do dredge it in the flour. I shake the flour off, the excess flour off. I put it in a different bowl, as you can see, and then when we start to cook it, I'm gonna show you what's incredibly important about cooking shrimp. Cooking the shrimp bits at a time. I'm not putting all of them in at the same time, and there's a reason for that. I'm gonna let them cook a tiny bit, and then I'm gonna remove them from the heat and add all the other things that have to be part of the whole meal. The goal here is to not overcook the shrimp, which can be done way too easily. So you have to pay attention to the pan. This is not one of those things you can start and walk away from. My heat is on low because you don't want to cook too fast. The first set of shrimp have been turned and they're pretty much ready to come out. They're just barely pink. The second set of shrimp is going to be turned momentarily, and the goal here is to pull them once they're pink. Please know that you're going to put them back in the pan to cook further, but when they come through the entire process, the tenderness is going to be absolutely perfect. So what you can see is that I'm using capellini. As I mentioned to you earlier, capellini is effectively angel hair. So it needs virtually no cooking time, which is actually perfect to me in my mind, because I'm not going to cook it completely in the boiling water. It's going to go back in this pan along with garlic. I'll add lemon, and then I'll add the shrimp back in. So I want the capellini to be just a little bit cooked. It's another word, bendable, that's not ready. Because I want it to cook fully in with the shrimp. We're getting close, but we're not quite there yet. So as you can see, the capellini is mostly cooked, but not entirely cooked. And what's going to happen is I'm going to take it out of the water, I'm going to drain it, and I'm going to hold it until I put it back into the pan with the shrimp. So what I've done is I've added some crushed garlic. I'm just going to let that do lightly. I don't want to burn it, so it's going to be very cautiously sauteed. I'm on low heat. I don't want it to go too far. And then what will happen is I'm going to add the pasta back here and then the shrimp last. And then I'll squish it with a little bit of lemon, and then I'll end up with some parsley. So I've added the pasta back into the pan with the garlic, the ghee, and the olive oil. And I'm letting that just cook a little tiny. And as is always the case, sometimes I cook with wine, sometimes I put it in the food. I will be adding some wine at this point in time because you have to have wine. It's kind of like required in shrimp scampi. So I'm going to add a touch of wine. It's probably about half a cup, maybe a third of a cup of Chardonnay. It's what I do. I'm going to turn up the heat a tiny. I'm going to go up to just below medium. I don't want it to cook too much. I still want it to soften the pasta. And now I'm going to add the shrimp in to finish the cooking of the shrimp. Smell-o-vision, because it would be awesome for you to smell. I've added the shrimp, and what you're going to see is the flour that dredged on the shrimp as I cook to the next level is going to create this amazing sauce. Next, I'm going to squeeze about a half a lemon on top, and I'm going to just let it cook down a tiny. So now I'm going to add about a half of a squeezed lemon. Yes, I did take the pits out, which you have to be careful of. Lemon is powerfully important on fish and, of course, on shrimp and in shrimp scampi, but if it's too much lemon, it will overpower the dish. So this is looking pretty perfect, but probably, for me, not quite perfect enough. So I want to add a tiny bit more water or liquid. Doesn't have to be wine, could be anything, because I want it to cook down a little bit more, but at a very gentle heat. You don't want to make it too high right now. And as you can see, we're already seeing that a lovely coating of the flour that was dredged onto the shrimp in advance, and we're just about done, and it's going to taste so good. Can you hear that? Not too high, just high enough to cook it down a tiny. Now I'm reducing the heat, and I'm about to add some Parmesan. I will add more Parmesan at time of serving, but also the Parmesan will help create this amazing, amazing sauce. So as you can see, I'm using a microplane for the Parmesan at this point, but I will always do that with this particular dish. I like the softer integration of the Parmesan. We are done. The sauce is perfect. The shrimp are perfectly cooked, not overcooked. I've added my parsley, which just adds this additional lovely flavor, and I hope you enjoy. Please remember, you don't have to add pasta at all. You can just make the scampi without pasta. And I will share with you that I do often use a corn pasta if you're gluten-free or you just don't want to eat gluten. But this is an amazing meal. Here's the best part. Tomorrow, whatever I don't eat will be added to a salad. So once this is over and I want to have lunch tomorrow, I can have an incredibly fabulous salad, adding the leftover shrimp to that salad, along with tomatoes and celery and all the other fabulous salady things. And so I hope you enjoy. It's a fabulous meal. I wish you well. If I can answer any questions, reach out to me, and have a good meal. Yum is the only thing to say.